Tonight, questions surrounding the death of a New South Wales man in Venus Bay as a 43-year-old man is charged with murder. And wet and windy, wild weather lashes parts of the Spencer Gulf as king tides impact Whyalla.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf studios, your nightly news with Madeline Kerr begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. A man is in custody, charged with murder tonight after the body of a 64-year-old man was found inside a home in Venus Bay. Police are calling on witnesses to come forward as they try to piece together what led to Peter Hillier's death. Henry Millick has the story.
Police are calling upon witnesses to come forward after missing man Peter Hillier was found dead inside a Venus Bay holiday home. Officers have since charged a man known to Peter for murder. Police were called to the town of Venus Bay, 2.5 hours north of Port Lincoln yesterday morning, attending a home along Sandham Street, where the body of the 64-year-old from mid-north New South Wales was found inside. Major crime investigators attended the scene, where Peter Hillier was identified less than a week after he was reported missing to authorities. It's alleged Hillier was last seen in Lake Haven in New South Wales, almost 2,000 kilometres from where his body was eventually found. It is believed the 64-year-old purchased the motorhome in Adelaide around a month ago, with the intentions of travelling around Australia along with an acquaintance. The pair had been staying in Venus Bay since that time. On Sunday, Peter's acquaintance reported a motor vehicle accident on the Flinders Highway.
Who advised them that in the early hours of that morning, Peter had fallen from a vehicle in an intoxicated state whilst travelling on the Flinders Highway. Once they'd returned home, he'd gone to sleep on the lounge, and his friend had awoken the next day to find him requiring urgent medical assistance. Sadly, when SAS arrived, they found that Peter was already deceased.
The 43-year-old man travelling with Peter was arrested last night and remains in custody. Police say that Peter suffered major injuries.
I can say that his injuries are significant, and he suffered significant injuries to his body.
Visitors staying next door were left in shock once they heard of the incident.
Not only get bad weather, but a bit of bad luck with what's happened next door. You know, being a small little place like this, it's very surprising that something like this has actually happened. You know, a bit of a shock, really.
Anyone who has dashcam footage from the Flinders Highway or has further information of the incident is asked to contact Crime Stoppers.
Henry Millick reporting there. A cold front has moved through our region and is continuing to track east through the state. The wintry blast leading to king tides and gale-forced winds yesterday. Meteorologists say it's not over just yet, with similar weather to return later in the week. Edward McCarroll reports.
Parts of the York and Eyre Peninsula have enjoyed a day of relatively clear skies after the region has been continually hit by heavy rainfall, strong winds and high tides.
We have seen damaging gusts around that 90-kilometre mark at several locations across the state. So we saw those gusts at Kadina, Ceduna and Woomera.
Brought on by a deep low pressure system, yesterday's strong winds culminated in a king tide at the Whyalla foreshore.
We've got waves around 8 metres, very long period waves too, affecting the exposed coast of South Australia, and a lot of that water's piling up along the coast.
Water lapping up onto the beachside path, a sight for the city's evening walkers. Similar scenes also played out in Port Augusta, with Sunday and Monday's rainfall combining with high tides to see some minor flooding adjacent to the city's CBD. With the weather system's effects felt statewide, the SES were inundated with calls.
On average, 1 call every minute, so we still have a significant number of requests for assistance that we're working through.
Even with today's sunny conditions, the Bureau of Meteorology says the rain is likely to return as we head into the back end of the week.
So people need to be prepared for these cold and blustery conditions to continue. We've also got further showers and even some small hail potentially coming up.
We do have a number of self-help sandbag stations, and we know they've been publicised on our website, so people can have a look there.
So despite today being the last day of autumn, to many it would feel like winter's been here for a while.
3 men have been taken to hospital after a serious crash in Whyalla Stewart. Emergency crews were called to the scene along McDougall Stewart Avenue in the early hours of this morning after reports of a Mitsubishi Ute having hit a tree. The 24-year-old driver from Sturt, as well as his 2 passengers, a 44-year-old man from Two Wells and a 28-year-old man from Roxbury Downs, were taken to Whyalla Hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Police say the Roxbury Downs man was likely to be airlifted to the Royal Adelaide Hospital for further treatment. Investigations into the circumstances surrounding the crash are ongoing, with anyone with information urged to come forward to police. Meantime, a 2-car crash held up traffic along the Lincoln Highway this morning as commuters made their way to work. Around 8:30, 2 SES trucks were sent to the scene after a collision was reported. One of the vehicles ended up on the side of the road, tangled up in trees. The other remained on the highway. SA ambulance also arrived. Fortunately, no one was injured or required medical treatment. SES volunteers helped clean up the scene along with SAPOL units. Still to come tonight, the Environment Protection Authority renews nearstar's licence in Port Pirie with the aim to further reduce lead in air emissions. And a Far West art organisation set to receive money from council to support budding and established artists in regional areas. Welcome back. The Environment Protection Authority has written to its stakeholders in Port Pirie with an update of the process for renewing nearstar's licence for 2022. The recent completion of an independent site contamination is also being reviewed.
A multi-metal smelter has operated in Port Pirie for over 130 years. The EPA oversees mining business Nearstar by regulating its environmental activities and reviewing the company's licence on a regular basis.
We talked to the smelter and about what we'd like to see, and we listened to the community about what they would like to see, and then we also have our own experts, and we consider what the EPA would like as well and what is possible.
Nearstar's current licence was issued on the 1st of January in 2021. The authority found its performance over the past 12 months has been consistently strong, resulting in the best emissions seen over recent years.
Nearstar's going in a really, really good direction. They're continually improving, continually making things better. They want to do a lot more work. We're very pleased to see their commitment to improving the conditions on site and the reduction in lead in air.
Nearstar has already started implementing a number of initiatives on its site to address recommendations and will continue to work with the EPA and neighbouring industrial landowners. Mr Przinski encourages community members to reach out to the local environmental health centre if they are ever concerned.
They have an excellent program for monitoring young children and working with people to reduce the lead in homes.
For more information, you can access the community update outlines on EPA's website. Annabelle Francis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
West Darling Arts is set to receive over $17,500 from Broken Hill City Council. The money will help continue the organisation's mission of supporting the arts, not only in the Silver City, but also in the Far West as a whole.
The Silver City is known for 2 things, mining and the arts, and they do both really well. And now, West Darling Arts has received a cash boost of over $17,000 from Broken Hill City Council.
The amount that we've received from council has it's calculated against population, but also with CPI. So, what we ask for.
The money shows the commitment the council has to art in the city.
We receive contributions also from Central Darling Shire and Wentworth Shire councils in the same sort of way that we receive funding through Broken Hill City Council.
The money will help with West Darling Arts core services, such as advice for artists, art organisations, or anyone who has an interest in the arts. But it's not just those living in the Silver City who will benefit.
So it all goes into the pot basically, and we make sure that we provide services to all of the regions.
It means smaller areas which don't have a dedicated council are also reaping the rewards of funds being poured into West Darling Arts.
Because we also have the unincorporated area in our West Darling Arts region, we actually get a little bit of additional funding from Create New South Wales to service that region as well.
Meanwhile, Broken Hill City Art Gallery has opened back up to the public after more than a year off to renovate. Staff are encouraging locals to head down to the revamped gallery on Argent Street to help support the arts industry post-COVID. Joshua Mercer, 7, Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. Whyalla prepares for a massive influx of cuttlefish ahead of the marine molluscs breeding season. And Port Lincoln residents get involved with National Reconciliation Week. Welcome back to 7 Spencer Gulf News. A Broken Hill woman was taken to hospital in the early hours of Sunday morning. Emergency services were called to Argent Street about 2 a.m. after the woman was allegedly knocked unconscious by her partner following a domestic dispute. When authorities arrived at the scene, the woman was on the ground, suffering injuries to her face. She was taken to Broken Hill Hospital and is in a stable condition. A man was later arrested in the city's south. He's set to face Broken Hill Court this week. Tourists are beginning to flock to Whyalla as we move into the peak months to see the region's giant cuttlefish. Community leaders are thrilled to see more holidaymakers already engaging in attractions and spending their money in the city.
Weird, wacky and wonderful for the local economy. Large numbers of Australia's well-renowned giant cuttlefish are already moving into the waters around Point Lowly. The creatures, with their spectacular colour-changing displays and unique look, attracting nature lovers from all over the country who want a chance to see them firsthand.
I would encourage people to come out here and have a go and have a look. The cuttlefish engage in all sorts of weird and wonderful behaviours, multicoloured behaviours.
While these tourists are thrilled the cuttlefish are here, local businesses are also happy to see them and the waves of people they bring to their doorsteps during June and July. The City Council says more tourism operations continue to pop up each year, showing there is money to be made from hosting these out-of-towners.
The economic benefit for our city is enormous. As we're here today, it's a beautiful day, it's lovely and sunny, there's lots of people down here and this is only the beginning of the season. There's people diving and also experiencing the new glass bottom boat. So there's options for all tourists here today.
It's not only the tour guides reaping the benefits. Council says the flow-on effect for accommodation, hospitality and retail venues is also a big boost.
People come to the city, they stay in our hotels, use our shops, etc. and experience everything that's wonderful about Whyalla.
This year's Cuddle Fest is also fast approaching, with organisers hard at work putting together a program of events to bolster tourist numbers and make sure they stay in the city for even longer. That's if swimming with the giant cuttlefish isn't reason enough. Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
National Reconciliation Week is being celebrated in Port Lincoln, hosting storytelling workshops along with an art exhibition. The week runs from May 27th till Friday, June the 3rd. This year's theme is focused on being brave and making change.
A significant week for the nation, reminding us to stop and reflect. National Reconciliation Week is a time for Australians to learn about shared histories and cultures. Here in Port Lincoln, the community has come together to conduct storytelling workshops.
It's a very significant week. This week sees National Reconciliation Week and the theme is Be Brave, Make Change. And so Council has pulled together a vibrant calendar of events for this week.
Bungala elders Auntie Lizzie and Auntie Jackie sitting at the table, bringing their stories to life through pen and paper.
We've got some Stolen Generation elders here, so it's lovely for them to be able to share their story with everyone that's here today. And they're looking for support to write their personal stories, what they've gone through their life.
Writers SA also on board, helping with the storytelling process.
There's all sorts of ways you can write and tell a story. So I'm here to support with that. If people want to write poetry or non-fiction or fiction or anything really, we can work on that.
Workshops will continue throughout the week, held at the Port Lincoln Library. Locals are encouraged to come along this Thursday and Friday, starting at 10:30 p.m.
We thought it would be something different, like to do the riders' workshop, because it is a way of just bringing community together, you know, have a cuppa, have a yarn, you know, they can just write what they feel.
Storytelling will also be on display at the Nautilus Art Centre with a range of short films airing on Thursday. Henry Millick, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. We'll have a sport recap from across the Spencer Gulf, including netball and volleyball. And we'll have the latest from the Weather Bureau with Alex Sykes. Welcome back. As usual, many sporting matches took place across the region over the past week, ranging from the usual netball season to the start of the volleyball. There were some late night matches as well as some early ones on a chilly Saturday morning.
Netballers in Port Pirie and Port Augusta competed in round 5 of the season over the weekend, while volleyballers are still warming up, completing their second game of the season. Netball in Port Augusta is firing up, and this round included some confident wins. The Railways took on the Magpies and lost by a huge 29 points. They will be wanting to redeem themselves next round. The Vikings versed St Joseph's and had control throughout the game, winning by 22 points. Over in Port Pirie, Port took on Solus, who dominated throughout the match and won 73-46. Port have still not managed to win a game this season. Blue Wren and CM Celtic are next to one another on the ladder and battled it out this round. It was the closest match, with Blue Wrens taking the win by 11 points. Over to volleyball. Volleyballers hit the courts on Tuesday night. In the 6:50 p.m. game, Hammer Time versed Title of Your Set Tape. Title of Your Set Tape were the stronger team, winning the first 3 sets 18-25, 17-25 and 9-25. The best players in Hammer Time were Reese Mayer and Bruce Shilbick. The best players in Title of Your Set Tape were Kyle Ganley and Connor Gorey. In the 8 p.m. match, Title of Your Set Tape took on Mad Lads. The set scores were 26-24, 21-25, 16-25 and 9-6, with Mad Lads taking the win. Best Mad Lads players were Daryl Jebb and Dylan Trigg. Best Title of Your Set Tape players were Josh Mack and Cale Ganley. That's it for Sports Wrap. If you would like us to report on your team competition, be sure to contact us on our Facebook page.
Annabelle Francis reporting there. Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather with Alex Sykes. And Alex, there are some weather warnings in place.
Thanks, Maddie, and good evening to you and our viewers. That's right, a short time ago, there were some warnings in place, including a severe weather warning for York Peninsula and mid-north districts, a flood warning for South Australia's inland rivers, as well as a marine wind warning and warning to sheep graziers. Let's now take a closer look at today's conditions. At 3 p.m, while it was cloudy in 17, Broken Hill was partly cloudy with 14, and Clare had today's low with 11 degrees. Taking a look further out now, and Port Augusta and Cooper Pedy both reached 17. Port Pirie and Woodner both had showers and got to 16 degrees. Port Lincoln was windy with showers and had a max of 15 degrees. Taking a look at the satellite image now, low cloud in the wake of a cold front is producing isolated showers to the south and southeast of the state. Thick cloud in a cloud band over the northwest is not bringing any rain. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Southwesterly winds 20 to 30 knots, seas 2 to 3 metres, and south to southwesterly swells 1 to 1.5 metres. Cloudy across most of the region today. Port Lincoln and Woodner both set to reach 16 degrees. Cleve will get to 14, Wowler also set to reach 14, Port Augusta 15, and Kadina will get to a max of 16 degrees. Port Pirie will have a shower or two, also 16, 12 degrees in Clare, and over the border at Broken Hill, it'll be partly cloudy and set to reach a top of 12 degrees. Taking a look further through the week now, and as Edward mentioned earlier, the Bureau has warned us of those wet conditions returning. Showers forecast across most parts on Thursday. Port Lincoln is set to reach 16 degrees, Cooper Pirie 14. Broken Hill will be cloudy and get to 12 degrees, 15 degrees everywhere else. Those showers continuing into Friday, Port Lincoln and Whyalla will get to 18, 17 in Port Augusta, Port Pirie, Woodner and Kadina. Broken Hill to reach 13 degrees and Cooper Pirie will be sunny and 18. Not a lot of change on Saturday. Broken Hill will be mostly sunny and reach 15 and partly cloudy in Cooper Pirie with 18 degrees. Well, Maddie, a few locals were still cleaning up after last night's damage. Let's hope it's not as bad over the coming days. And that's all the weather from me for tonight. I'll see you soon with an update. It's back to you.
Thanks for that, Alex. We'll definitely keep an eye on the forecast over the next few days. And that's the local news this Tuesday. I'm Madeline Kerr. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates a little later, but until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.